If you make him your everything, you'll soar higher than everything. Carl Clotte with the beautiful inspirational song this morning. Heading us into the news review, or taking us to the news review, brought to you by Interplast. Wherever you are, we make sure water reaches you even in space. Are you tired of using a garden hose to water your lawn every time? Are you tired of your brown lawn? Stay green with InGreen and contact Interplast for your automatic lawn irrigation materials and more. Call us on 0302-819-000. InGreen is another quality solution from Interplast. And with Interplast, wherever you are, we make sure water reaches you, even in space. Now, Frytol is on a search to unearth great talent in cooking and is on a mission to make dreams come true. Now, I need to write a personal petition to Frytol so that after they find the best cook, they find those of us who can consume the food best. The Frytol Enriching Lives competition is the biggest TV reality cooking show. The winner of this exciting TV reality show gets a life-changing award of 100,000 Ghana cedis in business investment. Yes, you heard right. 100,000 Ghana cedis. Make a date with us every Saturday at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. only on Joy Prime. Frytol Enriching Lives is brought to you by Frytol. Frytol Enriching Lives, unearthing talent, fulfilling dreams. Time for the news review. Hi guys, good morning.
Good morning. I hope you are doing well this morning.
I'm doing as well as my bank accounts can allow me.
I am reading the airbase strike from Iran.
The Iran-USA thing.
Yes.
Okay, so Raymond, for those who may not have heard, this happened around midnight.
Yes.
What has happened?
So what has really happened is that now 2 air bases housing U.S. soldiers in Iraq, not Iran. So Iran attacked U.S. air bases in Iran. In Iraq.
Thank you.
And they've been hit by more than a dozen ballistic missiles. You know the word when they say ballistic, it sounds like, big things have dropped onto a nation. And the U.S. Defense Department has actually been confirming this. Iranian state TV says this is retaliation against the attack and the killing of the General Suleiman. And the immediate response has been what is getting me worried. That immediate response already, oil prices have risen after 2 bases after the incident, and we are looking at Brent crude was up around for 1.4% at 69.21 per barrel in the middle of the Asian trade, and easing back after some slight gains. So the reaction has been immediate. We are hearing the UAE saying that they will step in. We've also heard the UN say that calm heads should prevail for this matter to be dealt with properly. We don't want a full-blown war between these 2 states, and more importantly, the third parties joining in, because for any of these sides, they have third parties who sometimes make it a protracted conflict for a long time. Since 1953, the relationship between the US and Iran has been a very interesting one. I'm sure later on we can go into that.
Yes, but of course, the attack of General Soleimani has really aggravated this.
Yes.
Away from the international geopolitics, Malik, the next pricing window for petrol pricing in Ghana is in about a week. It's around the 14th.
And it's likely to go up, as is always happening. And if the price on the international market goes up, as we are just learning, that means it's going to have a rippling effect on the price locally.
This is already suffering from depreciation issues and other factors.
Absolutely.
But if the exchange rate, not to get too technical, but if the exchange rate gets stronger because the dollar gets weaker, because of this war, it could affect US's currency.
Code, because the dollar has proven resilient.
It's not like some other currencies,
So should we just pray against the dollar right now?
We should pray against some other states fight.
That's the best thing. Okay.
Anyway.
Here's something we can control. What's on the front page of the Finder?
The Finder is reporting this morning, Giver raises red flags, accuses Communications Ministry of sneaking encryption into free-to-air broadcast infrastructure and protect the integrity of the judiciary. This is the President of the Republic of Ghana telling the new Chief Justice and Auditor General must compel over 40,000 public officers to declare their assets, occupy Ghana, that went to court to compel the Auditor General to act in the first place is back with more statements on this. GCB Bank invests some 370 million in agric and cocoa sectors. And that's on the front page of the Finder too.
Daniel, you were just talking about oil prices. The graphic business front page has Esla PLC extends sale of 260 million Ghana cedis bond. Statistical Service ready for 2020 census, urges public support to make it success. Failed financial institutions, Minister of Finance requests 15.6 billion to protect depositors. And we know this. The last story is the one which should worry many of us. Hamatan likely to disrupt flight. That's according to the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority.
Now, the New Crusading Guide is reporting this morning, guard the judicial independence jealously. And there's another one about probing the Biakoya DC and others for allegedly awarding multiple contracts to their cronies. And this is some grouping in that area complaining the trouble is looming at Talensi. Police and a group they are on a collision course over whether or not they should allow demonstration against that mining firm, Shanji. You know, there's been some controversy with that institution for some time. Yes. So that's what's been happening.
The Chief Justice story is on the front page of the Daily Guide as well. You have a photograph of smiling President Akufo-Addo, Chief Justice Enini Yabua, and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Enini Yabua is new CJ, that's the headline. Otumfor grabs Peace Award. We know this. Giba fights Communications Ministry and NDC sued over primaries.
Now, the Daily Statesman is reporting this morning, Akufo-Addo praises Ghanaians for making year of return a success. And he has a picture of an event that I am convinced was one of the days I was there. The Afro Nation.
You were convinced you were there?
Yeah, I'm convinced that this is the day I was there.
Why do I have
when
doubts?
They took the picture?
Was that the day you met Gospel Gabra?
Yes, I don't know why I met so many other people there.
Is that the day you depleted your salary? I just have a lot of questions for you.
It contributed to it.
And so I'm asking a question on Facebook. I've been asking a question on Twitter, Raymond, just before we go, about how much of your January salary is left. And I've just made a new best friend, Raymond.
Who?
I'll tell you who. And it's a quick one. His name is Nana Amwachi. He's my new best friend. He says, I did not touch my salary. So, Nana, good morning.
Oh. Yeah, of course.
As best friends, I'll be coming for lunch.
He obviously didn't go to
Afro Nation. He didn't go to Afro Nation. Anyway, now there's one about the Zongo's ministry bringing new lavatories to Accra, and that's on the front page of the Daily Statesman too.
My last paper is a Daily Graphic, which has again the Chief Justice swearing in yesterday on the front page here. But this picture also has the retiring Chief Justice, the one who retired before her, the Attorney General as well. So 6 of them actually. Great photograph. Uphold tolerance, national unity. That's NCC urging Ghanaians on Constitution Day. We support new voters register. That's 2 parties, former presidential candidate arguing. Back page of the Daily Graphic. Raymond, we were talking about fire yesterday. Fire displaces hundreds in Achimota slum, and police arrest driver over death of girlfriend.
And we need to state that that's the 245th incident in the last 12 days. Fire. Across the country anyway.
And the Ghana National Fire Service is actually warning that the Hamatan is likely to exacerbate these fire incidents.
Wow. Now, the Chief Justice story is on the front page of the Ghanaian Times too. US-Iran tensions. World leaders must call for calm. And Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso said this before the strike from the Iranian missiles. Hopefully that will be abated in the coming days. But NCC urges tolerance as nation goes to the polls. That's also on the front page here. And ambulances to be commissioned January 28. The health minister has finally given the edict there.
So let's go back to the Chief Justice story. Yesterday the president swore in Justice Enini Yabua as the 14th Chief Justice of Ghana. And this follows his nomination by the president and vetting by Parliament's appointments committee, and the committee of the whole eventually adopting the report of the appointments committee that recommended his confirmation or appointment by the president. The president yesterday at the swearing-in said that he chose yesterday Constitution Day to emphasize the importance of the 1992 Constitution, which sets up the framework that guides governance in this country. The Chief Justice in his response talked about the problems that affected justice delivery, the complaints that emanated from his vetting, about people's concerns with the slow nature of our justice delivery system, the poor infrastructure that frustrates the delivery of justice. And he believes that if he gets the support of the president, his tenure will lead to these problems being solved once and for all. Let's see how that works, because the Ghana Bar Association has complained about some of the deplorable conditions under which judges, especially high court judges in the regions, live. And they talk about reptiles and infestations in their homes, and the homes with leaking roofs and all of that. We know that the Chief Justice, who just retired, complained about the poor nature of courtrooms and actually ordered the closure of some of those courtrooms. Those are the things that Justice Eni Yabua is saying, with the help of the president, they can solve.
I remember during her tours, that's Justice Ekufu, Justice Ekufu, the immediate past Chief Justice, she ordered that a newly built courtroom in Wasa East District is closed down. She said that they shouldn't use it because it was not fit for purpose. Yeah. The DCE then wasn't happy at all, but he said that they would consult and make sure that that is done. I think that generally there's a big infrastructure deficit. It's not just in Ghana, in our continent. A few years ago, it was found that we have to spend $5 billion on infrastructure generally in this continent.
The problem is the courtrooms, even in Accra here, some of them are in very deplorable conditions. In Accra, in the capital.
You're saying that
wondering what happens in Raymond's Mankasi.
Instead of concentrating on other things, the judiciary and maybe government will together work to fixing the infrastructure problems rather than the who can go to law school problem. Is that what you are alleging?
I have not said that.
No, now let me bring you an interesting story. One of the cases that's headed to court, and the courts that's supervised by the Chief Justice will have to deal with, is a man. The man's name is Edwin Aoku. He's alleged to have killed his girlfriend. The man is 42, the girlfriend is 46, in a hotel room in Kumasi at Denyami, to be specific, on January 2. So the second day of this year. And the police are giving some indications that the man, after shooting the woman close range, that's what the police is saying, decided to go home, talk to his wife, and he and the wife agreed, let's go and report this incident, which happened at a hotel, as a robbery. Oh. This morning, we had our colleagues there in the hotel who told us that the people in the hotel did not hear of any altercation between the two individuals when they were in the hotel. They knew they are coming, they are chatting at the time that they did, or they said they did, and later on there was an incident that was reported and they were taken to the hospital. So this body had been deposited. The police is still investigating that. We understand the police said they've gathered some information, preliminary investigations indicating that the robbery issue could be ruled out, and that the indications so far are all pointing in one direction, that the woman was killed instantly, shot at close range, most likely by the 42-year-old man. How it was possible that the wife and the husband would agree, let's go and report this, especially when the wife might have been told that he was in the hotel room with a different woman, sounds interesting. But I hope it's not one of the incidents where the police just ends up with their preliminary investigation, rules out all other alternatives and possibilities, and come back later on after failing to ensure prosecution to say that we are opening the case for further investigation. I just feel that it is too early for some of these conclusions to be brought on board. It's just how investigations are supposed to be done anyway.
I'm certain they will find something. They will find some conclusive evidence that would help them to bring resolution to these matters. Normally, when they are unable to bring closure to this, that affects the family and everybody.
The good thing is that we are on this story. Ohimi gave us an update on the 6 a.m. news, and we'll definitely be reporting for you everything that happens to the minutes. Raymond, you were talking about another story.
Here in Accra, a circuit court has ordered the arrest of Reverend Moses Anthony Tetevi for failing to appear before it to answer charges of fraud prevailed against him. In fact, Reverend Tetevi is alleged to have collected 12,000 from a banker under the pretext of supplying him with limestone, but he went into hiding after collecting the money. So when the case was called, Chief Inspector Emmanuel Haliga said the accuser failed to appear before court and we can't find the money too. So the court ordered the arrest of the pastor, and hopefully the court indicated that wherever he's found, be it in the church, at home, or whichever location he finds himself, the man of God may have more trouble than is expected of him. So that's also another court case that we will be surely following to get to know what's really happening.
Then let's do politics this morning. You know, yesterday when we were reviewing the newspapers, we did the story of 6 political parties: NDC, PPP, Hassan Ayarga's APC, and 3 other political parties, smaller political parties, joined forces and said that they were going to oppose attempts by the Electoral Commission to compile a new voters register.
Yeah.
Now, 2 other parties plus an independent presidential candidate in the last election, Jacob Seyebwa. So the PPP and the LPG, the party with a very funny name, also had a press conference yesterday where they say, as far as they are concerned, they are in full support of the EC's attempt to compile a new register. They believe that the current register is not fit for purpose, has problems, there are foreigners, there are minors on that register, and therefore the EC's justification have a basis. So they are in support of the new voters register, the compilation of a new voters register. And William Dorper, we know William Dorper, who was a PPP's parliamentary candidate. Before then was CPP, right? Parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West Wuogon. He's the one speaking, and he believes that the EC should not be denied of the resources that it needs to compile a register and to conduct free, fair, credible elections.
I'm just glad they didn't let Kofi Palu of the LPG speak. I'm afraid he might explode.
Anyway, now let me bring you a story that's interesting. You know, first we had the commission do its work and submit a report. I'm talking about the Ayawaso West Wuogon Commission.
Just
submit a report. There was also a white paper from the president yesterday. The distinguished lawyer Kofi Abochu was here. He spoke about it. He spoke about what government ought to do going forward. He still feels that there's some restructuring required in the security setup to make sure that people believe in that setup going into the election this year. Now, just before he spoke, some months
it was to the best of his knowledge, Raymond, because he said that he doesn't know if something is being done behind the scenes, but as meets the eye, if it is the same as it was at the time of that by-election.
Now, months ago, the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, after its engagement annual plenary, came out with a statement and said government should be bold and depart from what has happened in times past and fully implement the report of the Ayawaso West Wuogon Commission. The former president John Dramani Mahama is the latest to add his voice to that call. He says, do not shield perpetrators of Ayawaso West Wuogon violence. He believes that as we go into the election 2020, President Akufo-Addo has a responsibility to secure the safety of all citizens and must resist the temptation to allow the use of violence to harm and intimidate innocent civilians, as we observed last year during the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election. And he makes a pledge that, on my part, I will continue to work for peace, and I urge the president to do the same as a first step. And he suggests that he stops shielding the perpetrators of the violence at Ayawaso West Wuogon. He must have them face the appropriate sanctions. That's what he said. Of course, we know what happened there and what government accepted. What we don't know is that behind the scenes, is government still implementing some reform, which is something that ordinarily you would expect, even though some of the recommendations were rejected, especially the calls for prosecution and those other ones. And the definition of militia stroke vigilante was also rejected by government.
Mr. Abochi also disagrees with government.
Yes, I heard Professor Harita Mensah Bonsu speak to Ben Sabedi last year and said, I insist on that particular definition being the appropriate definition for it.
Let's do Harmattan and the disruptions that it's likely to cause flights, both domestic and international flights, but more importantly domestic ones. The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, and you know that this has been happening over the years. 2015 flights were grounded, they were cancelled, passengers were stranded. 2016 the same thing happened. 2018, and we have consistent reports about Harmattan affecting especially northern parts. In fact, there was last year, I remember there was an incident where the plane actually took off from Accra, got to Tamale and couldn't land, and came back to Accra because the weather was so bad, visibility was so poor, they couldn't land. Now, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is is cautioning that this year may be even worse for both domestic flights and international airlines, and they are urging caution in this period, especially from now until March, when things are likely to change.
Malik, the climate change conversation is something that we can't ignore. Look at the level of bushfires we are seeing this year. Not just in Ghana and in Africa, internationally. The Harmattan in Accra this year is at epic proportions, and it's been confirmed, really, by the meteorological.
It has been
agency.
confirmed, and it's not only in Ghana, it's happening elsewhere. The Australian fires are still ravaging forests in Australia.
So, all in all, the weather in the world is changing.
Absolutely.
And it's changing because of how we ourselves we are treating the environment.
Please, I have a question. The Environmental Protection Agency reports every single year on our national communication when it comes to specifically climate change, and now we are doing two things: adaptation and mitigation. Consistently, I hear general government talks. I'm not seeing what we are doing specifically when it comes to these two things: one, adaptation; two, and mitigation, because states elsewhere are preparing for it.
You mean adapting to the changes in the climate?
Yes,
and doing
mitigating
things
its
so
effects.
that the effect is not felt so
Very
much.
good, so that we know fires are coming. How do we adapt to a more environment that will prevent the fires from spreading to places? Two, we know that we are going to have floods in the coming months. What are we doing to prevent people from losing properties and all the other things? We just wait to complain about the problem.
We will do dredging.
Anyway, the online news review is where we go next. Is brought to you by Zenith Bank, in your best interest, and Goil Good Energy. The Ify promo is still alive, and many like Ibrahim Lukman from Winchi, Benjamin Ochre from Kaswa Iron City, and Abdul Karim Abubakar from Yendi have received 1,000 CDs, 500 CDs, and 300 CDs of free fuel. Others are getting plenty instant rewards. So just drive to any Goil station, buy 100 CDs worth of fuel or more, and for motorbikes, 30 CDs or more. Get a card, scratch it, and dial *161 4645# and follow the prompts, or go to the App Store, download the Goil promo app, sign up with your phone number, and receive a one-time activation code. More rewards are awaiting you. Goil Ify promo, terms and conditions apply. Goil, your Hall of Fame petroleum company. Goil Good Energy, Yenara Yedia. Now, Zenith Bank Ghana Limited wishes all its valued customers a happy and prosperous new year. We thank you for your patronage and support throughout 2019. Thank you for banking with us, Zenith Bank, in your best interest. MyJoyOnline.com says cars over 40 kiosks and bars burnt to ashes at Achimota. So the fires are not limited to the northern parts of Ghana, guys. In Accra as well, we are feeling the heat. Literally. CityNewsroom.com says in the Ashanti region, 4 NIA officials have been arrested over malpractices. The National Identification Authority cracking the whip there. StarFM.com.gh, Ekufado wants to use ambulances as campaign message, the NDC says. The BBC.com says X8 posts anti-Trump tweet on president's account. Talk about suicide. A former aide to Somalian president Ibrahim Boubacar Keita has apologized for posting expletive-laden tweets on the president's official Twitter account. Okay, so this was in Mali, not in the US. Interesting story coming out of the BBC. We'll hear the news from there very shortly. This is the Super Morning Show. We'll be right back.
Goil